Good day, and thank you for taking the time to participate in the 2022 Inside Public Accounting Practice Management Survey. The Inside Public Accounting Annual Survey draws close to 600 public accounting firms from across the U.S. and Canada. It is one of the longest-running, largest management of an accounting practice surveys. We'd like to take a few minutes to walk you through the survey to share best practices for completing the IPA survey. Let's begin with the invitation to participate. When was the invitation sent out? It was sent out January 18th, 2022. The subject line read, "The 2022 Inside Public Accounting Practice Management Surveys are open for participation. Please confirm." The email would come from K. Platt or C. Summers at plattgroupllc.com. Why are you receiving the invitation to participate? You're either a current subscriber to Inside Public Accounting monthly newsletter, you were ranked in the 2021 as an IPA Top 400 firm, you were named an IPA Best of the Best firm in the past, or you were with an international association that has contracted Inside Public Accounting to collect and report on your association's data. If you did not receive the survey invitation, please contact survey@plattgroupllc.com. Let's begin. When you open the survey attachment, you will be directed to the Welcome tab. Please familiarize yourself with this tab. The deadlines for submission are highlighted on the Welcome tab. Each individual group will have different deadlines, so please check your deadline, and in the body of the email that you receive, deadlines will be highlighted there as well. You can begin the survey process by either clicking on the link below or opening the survey on tab 2. Chelsea Summers, please take it away.
Thanks. So I will walk you through with Mike Platt the IPA survey form. So any of the white cells that you see are going to be input forms. So that's where you're going to be placing data. You can either enter or tab your way through the data in the survey form. So on rows 8 and 9, you're the expert in your firm. So we would like you to put your firm name and managing partner name exactly how you'd like it to see in print. This is what will be used if your firm receives any accolades like the IPA 400 or the IPA Best of the Best. On row 17, we're asking for your fiscal year end. If you've got any questions on what year you should be reporting on or what fiscal year end you should be reporting on, contact us. I'd like to highlight row 29. You will see an arrow next on the right side of that white box. So that's going to denote that there is a drop down there. So on some cells, we will have a drop down that we will ask you to use while you're filling in the form. And you will see that by the arrow on the right hand side. Rows 31 and 32. If you are part of multiple associations, please put each association there. On row 32, you can denote which what revenue comes from which association in that cell. On row 35, in the mergers and acquisitions section, we are looking for true mergers, not lateral hires or partners hired with a book of business. Only count mergers that are occurring during your fiscal year end. Now Mike Platt will continue on in the financial information section.
Thanks, Chelsea. In this section, a couple things to highlight before we get into the details. Number one, we have firms in the United States and we have firms in Canada that are participating in this. We ask everybody to report revenue in your home country's currency. That's number one. Number two is throughout the survey, we want to exclude any PPP loans or any government subsidies from revenue, from income, from compensation. None of that should be reported in there. So a couple definitions just to make sure we're all on the same page. On row 43, we ask for gross revenues. That is if you collected all of the hours in the time and billing system, and if you billed out at 100% of your standard rates, how much of revenue was billed or was collected last year. Please make sure that you exclude any reimbursable client expenses from the gross revenues. The net revenue is actually what was billed. So that would be after any write-downs that you do. Organic revenue growth.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Organic revenue growth, row 45 is what was the percentage growth in net revenue from last year, from 2020 to 2021, when you exclude any mergers or acquisitions. And then in row 46, we're asking for all revenue growth, which includes any mergers or acquisitions. Again, on row 47, we want you to confirm that you've excluded government subsidies and PPP loans. So you'll see a drop down in there. If you click on the drop down menu itself, it'll just give you one selection. No government subsidy loans have been included. So please go through that. This next area, rows 49 to row 70, gives you the various components of net revenue. Again, you are the expert in your firm, so please break it out as much as you can in the correct buckets of different service lines that your firm offers. There is an automatic sum in row 71 as you go through and fill in numbers throughout here. Row 71 does need to equal the net revenues that you put up in row 44. And as you scroll down here, if you've got revenue service lines that aren't exactly a good fit, you can put it into row 68, 69, or 70, and just be sure in column C to enter the information to describe what the service area is. This next section on starting in row 72, we're looking for the top industry niches and the percentage of total revenue represented by those industry niches. Each of those industry niches is a drop-down menu. So if you can find the industry niche in the drop-down, please go ahead and select it. If not, scroll all the way down to the bottom of that to the other selection, and then type in your response in column C to describe the industry niche. In the firm net income section, and starting in row 79, what we're looking for here is net income before equity partners earn their first dollar. Again, we're looking to exclude PPP loans from any of the calculations here. Again, organic and all growth as we had up above. Row 83, we are asking if the firm held back any income for transformative investments in the firm. So these are things that you're investing in new technologies, new service lines, big investments that you're building for the future. This could be bringing in a chief innovation officer. As an example, the cost would go into row 84 that shows what the investment would be for future. And then in row 85, finally, the percentage of the total net income that is actually going to be distributed to the equity partners, either during the fiscal year that you're reporting or in the first few months of the current fiscal year. This is just a percentage of the total that is going to go to the equity partners. Chelsea, back to you.
Thanks. So the next section is going to cover billing rate increases and collections. On rows 88 through 90 and 92, if there's different billing rate increases or billing multiples across your firm, whether in different staffing levels, please provide a firm-wide average in each of those sections. In the next section, starting on row 94, we're looking for the percentage of your firm's revenue that's based on these different pricing models. On the definitions tab, there will be a full explanation of each of these different pricing models, but anything that does not fit into anything on row 94 through 100 can be placed in row 101. And each of these areas should add up to 100%, which is summed in row 102. The section starting on row 109 for firm costs. This is a snapshot of major buckets of cost within the firm. It's not intended to be an income statement. Some items may be in multiple places. For example, your marketing director would be placed in row 110 under firm-wide personnel, as well as in row 111 under marketing cost. Please exclude all equity partner information from this section. Mike?
Okay, so this next section down what we call the staffing matrix. This frankly is the area where most firms, if they're going to provide information that's not accurate, this is usually where it ends up. So let me take a couple minutes and kind of walk you through what we're looking at here. We've got the rows broken up by the different staff levels: equity partners, non-equity partners, client service professionals, and then non-client service staff, the administrative team. What we're looking for in column C is the number of full-time equivalent people, the FTE count for each of the different staffing levels within your firm. We base our FTE count off of 2,080 hours. One thing to keep in mind is no individual can be more than one FTE. So we're really trying to capture those who are either working part-time or only worked a portion of the year in the fractional people that are there. Column C is for everybody who is primarily chargeable. These are the people who are going to have charge hours. In some firms, you're going to have equity partners or non-equity partners who are not chargeable. They might be a CFO or the head of marketing who happen to be a partner. If they're not chargeable, put them in column D. If they are chargeable, which is most of them, they'll go into column C. And again, everything in that tan is going to sum each of the various sections, so you can kind of keep track on it there. Column E is going to be for the total charge hours of each one of the staffing groups. So add up all charge hours for the staffing group itself. Column F is the total work hours for everybody in that staffing group. What we are looking for in column F is to exclude any PTO. So really is the hours that are going to be available for focusing on work for the firm. We do want you to count CPE time in that, but not vacation time or bereavement or anything else like that. Columns G is the average billing rate for that particular staff group, and column H is the average annual compensation for people in that staffing group. If you've got somebody who only worked 2 months of the year, we would ask you to annualize their compensation so that the averages don't get skewed. What you'll see as you go through the staffing matrix is there's going to be a number of pop-up boxes if you are entering information that we are not expecting. So as an example, let's say you have one male equity partner and you put in column E for total charge hours, 2,500 charge hours, which we know is not going to be for most firms possible. You'll get a pop-up that asks you if you want to continue with this. It's out of the range that we're expecting. You can either say yes and overwrite our warning, or you can say no and retype the correct charge hours. So if you put in 1,500 there, that will give you the correct information. Note also in column M, we are giving you the average annual charge hours per FTE based on the numbers that you're giving us in columns C and E. This really is a checking mechanism for you to make sure everything looks right. So if we put in, we have one male equity partner and one female equity partner, and we put in 6,000 total hours for the two of them, you'll see in column, well, you'll see that pop up because that's much higher than what we would anticipate seeing. But let's say that the answer is correct, and so you want to continue. You can hit yes. You'll have a second chance of catching that if when you look in column N at the 3,000 average hours, and that really is your opportunity to take a look and see if that all makes sense. The non-equity partners or salary partners all go into rows 131 and 32, and then everything in the client-serving professionals are based on the number of years of experience in public accounting, not necessarily in your firm, but in public accounting. We know a lot of firms have staff, senior, manager, and different staffing levels by name, but they're not all consistent. So we want to make sure that we have it consistent that you can draw people into based on their years in public accounting. Let me highlight real quickly in row 141. This will capture everybody else who's not otherwise classified above. So if you've got anybody who is client serving, who is not otherwise classified above, that'll go in column C, row 141. You may have a group that does wealth management as an example. So they're not chargeable, but they contribute to revenue. So you can put in the number of people in column D who are not chargeable. Again, column E in row 141 should just be for the people who are chargeable. Column F should be for everybody. If you've got a team in India, as an example, that FTE would be counted in column C and D. We want to be able to capture the total FTE and all the revenue that they're providing through the charge hours and the work hours, and we split it up this way so that the utilization and the realization numbers don't get skewed in there. As you go into it, if you have any questions, you're free to contact us as we go through this. At the very bottom in row 147 will be the firm-wide total FTE count. And again, this is going to represent the number of FTE available throughout the year, not necessarily on the final day of the fiscal year. So if you have somebody that worked for the first 6 months of the fiscal year end, please count them as 0.5 FTE, even if they're not with you on the final day of the year. That'll give you everything you need for the staffing matrix. Chelsea?
Thanks. So starting on row 155, we're looking at professional staff turnover for your firm. So please note that on row 156, that is going to be your turnover percentage. And on row 157 and 158, we're looking for the FTE of voluntary and involuntary turnover. So we would not generally expect 157 plus 158 to equal 156. In this section, please exclude all interns and seasonal staff from your calculations. And then on row 159, you're going to be looking for the percentage of firm-wide turnover. That would include your administrative staff, whereas in row 156, we're just looking for professional staff. So on this section, internal firm operations, starting on row 161, these are different staffing positions that you may have in your firm. You'll see a drop down. If you have this position, please select whether they're full-time, part-time, a client serving partner, outsourced, or if you do not have that position, please say no. If there are if the staff there is less than 1.0 FTE, please annualize their compensation in that section. If you have multiple people in each role, please provide an average for the compensation, years of experience, and years with the firm. If you scroll down in the last two sections, any C-suite staff that you do not have that you have that were not listed above in rows 163 to 207, please enter them in row 211 and then row 216. Mike?
Thanks, Chelsea. This next section on firm ownership talks about equity and non-equity partners, and where we're talking on each one of the rows, be sure to read the definition of whether we're looking for non-equity partners or equity partners. Average compensation in this section from row 223 to row 30 for newly admitted equity and non-equity, for the highest equity, for the lowest equity, and for the average if you have it split out by A&A partners, tax partners, and other equity partners. Those are the numbers that we're looking for. Again, don't count any money that individuals got from the PPP loans for the firm. That's not going to be part of the calculation. Row 231, what we're looking for is really to get an understanding of the mix in your firm of discretionary versus non-discretionary compensation. So how much can somebody change their own compensation based on their own behaviors? So select the number that is most appropriate for your firm. One thing on row 232, we're asking for the total managing partner compensation. We're looking for their total compensation, not just anything in addition that they might be earning as a result of being the managing partner. What's their total package worth? Put that into row 232. Down, starting in row 236, what we're looking for here is to try to get an understanding of what are the additional credits that partners get as part of the compensation formula for these different behaviors, these different activities. So in all of these, you'll see a drop down and just select the word yes. If you don't offer it, just leave it blank if that's not part of the formula. Once you put in all of the elements that go into compensation credit, row 250 to 252, just let us know which are the top three. I know it will probably be different partner by partner, but across the firm, what are the top three that you look at for partner compensation credits? Chelsea?
Thanks. So please take note in these sections regarding if it's equity partners, non-equity partners, managing partner. So on rows 254 through 261, we are just looking for information regarding your equity partners. Then starting on row 263, this section is going to be specific to your managing partner. If your firm does not have a managing partner, you can leave the section blank. If you have multiple managing partners, please provide averages where appropriate on rows 263, 264, and then 269 and 270.
Oops, that didn't work. Sorry.
On row 269, we are looking for the managing partner's book of business, and this would not be the revenues for the firm. If your managing partner is 100% focused on firm management, please put 0 in that row. Section 272 through 277. This is regarding both equity and non-equity partners, so please read each question carefully on which one it is asking for. On row 273 and 275, lateral hires are what we would consider partners hired in from another firm, not brought in through a merger. Mike?
Thanks, Chelsea. Let me jump down to the section of firm planning and governance starting in row 284. We've identified a number of different tools of governance in this section, and we would ask you to look through this list and identify those areas that are formalized inside of your firm. The drop-down menu will just give you an option of selecting yes. So just go through that, select the ones that are really formalized and in use inside of your firm. When you get down to row 309, several of you, depending on which associations you're with, may have additional questions between row 309 and row 409. Those are questions that are unique to the association that you belong to, that they have asked to add to the survey here. So please go and fill in those additional questions in that section. Then when you get done with that, everybody comes back to row 409. Any strategic changes that you have made during your previous fiscal year that you're reporting on, just commentary that you can offer that helps us gain some insight into your firm and help identify you as someone to potentially reach out to for additional insight in those particular areas. The sections of firm challenges, we have tried to identify in the drop-down menus the most frequently mentioned firm challenges that exist. If you can identify those, if it's not in the list, go ahead and select other and then type in your response in column C to help identify what specific challenges there are there. Row 15, 415, we're looking for the most recommended consulting firms. These are the firms that, the consulting firms that your firm has used in the last 12 months. So please identify who they are so that we can include that for our most recommended consultants feature that comes out throughout the year. And then in row 419, if there's any 420, if there's anything else that you are looking for, give us any feedback. What other areas would you find valuable that will help us continually improve our services to you through Inside Public Accounting? And then at the end of the survey form, we have in row 422, it's pre-selected as no for does your firm wish to opt out of being considered for the best of the best firms in the top 400 firms. Each year we identify by name in the IPA publication the top 400 firms by revenue. We offer the name of the firm, the managing partner's name, the office location, the dollar revenue amount, and in some cases, the percentage growth rate from organic growth rate from last year. If your firm does not want to be listed among the top 400 firms, or you don't want to be considered for inclusion in the best of the best firm calculations, you can change that from a no to a yes. What that would mean is you would not be listed in the rankings. You would not be selected as a best of the best firm. You would not be highlighted in any way, shape, or form. We strongly encourage you to keep it as a no. We think it's a great marketing tool and a great opportunity for accolades for you. So that will default to no, but you do have the opportunity to flip it to yes if you don't want to be identified. Row 423, we encourage you before you submit the survey form to either have the managing partner, CEO, or the CFO take a look at it and approve the form before sending it in. And then again on row 424, we want you to double confirm that all PPP loan have been excluded from the survey. So that's the survey form. I'm going to pop it back over to Kelly to explain what the other tabs are and how actually to submit your surveys once you're done. Kelly?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Chelsea. Appreciate it. Once you finalize your survey, as Mike just said, with the you want to definitely put no there. I want to share with you the IPA survey definitions. This tab is for the main survey, the IPA survey form. Here you're going to find information on the row, gross revenues, a little bit more explanation on what we're truly looking for. There's quite a bit of information here. Highly recommend you take a look at this prior to filling out the survey. And if you have any questions along the way, just pop on over here and see if that column, it gives you a little bit more explanation. We also offer, Inside Public Accounting also offers 3 additional surveys. A few associations that we work with do require their members to do all the firm admin, HR, and IT surveys, but they are optional. There's no cost to participate. Highly recommend you take a look at the surveys. We average about 2 to 250 firms participating each one of these. We'd love to see that increase. When you get to this tab, you're going to click on Access the Firm Admin tab. That will take you to the launch page for the firm administration. These surveys are included, as I said, in the Microsoft Excel workbook, and all fully participating firms will receive an executive summary of the surveys that they participated in. The firm admin survey really covers a little bit more than the IPA survey does. It talks about the tools of governance, firm-wide staffing, department staffing, your HR departments, IT, firm administration, internal accounting, business development, processes, groups, bonuses, partnership issues, firm-wide charge hours, bonuses, and profitability. There's a lot of great information in the firm admin survey. There's also a tab for the firm administration survey definitions. There again, if you're on this sheet and you have questions, see if it is addressed on the firm definitions. We also offer a human resources survey. Really digs a little deeper into the firm demographics of race, gender, turnover, PTO, compensation, benefits, recruiting practices, staff mentoring, development, and much more. Our last survey is the Information Technology Survey. This covers IT staffing, the hardware, network technologies that firms are using by different size firms, programs and software, internal IT procedures, and much more. Talk about artificial intelligence, what the firms are using. Really great, a lot of great information uncovered in that. And the last tab on your workbook is the firm clarifications. This is where we'd like you to, if you have a situation where you want to explain a little bit more why you answered the way you did, what we would highly recommend is you just put the survey you're regarding, so it's whether the firm admin, the IPA survey, tell us the row, column you're wanting to explain, and then pop in your explanation here. It could be, hey, we fired a partner, therefore this number may be a little out of sorts. So this is a place for you to explain yourself so we can make sure that everything that you provided is as accurate. So really appreciate you guys, everybody listening to this, and we're really excited. We just launched, and like I said, we're looking at close to 600 firms participating this year. And we highly recommend any questions you may have, you can contact our office at survey@plattgroupllc.com. And again, really appreciate you taking the time. And if you don't have your invitation, let us know. Thank you.